Namo Guru Me Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo
Om
I want to remind each one of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate the highest form of motivation. We call it bodhicitta motivation, or the altruistic motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of motivation, we should participate in this Lamrim discourse or the teaching on the stage of the path leading to enlightenment by Manjushri Lama Tsongkhapa. To give you the oral transmission of the Lamrim lineage teaching, I'm going to read about a couple of pages first, followed by explanation.
Mega dollar menu wonjang no ja tela tene tedale nyeba to be baji je nyeba da me da me nyeba ma la to nyam no nyeba to jang de sha go la de tela twe be di wa ju no nyeba me ba nyu de shi ba dong lu zu ren de ne so ba ni ga ma sang wa nyeba to je ren de ne ja ma chi wa le me da re me chi go la Geshe lo Geshe dewa jeba no lo jigzo dewa jeba ninja de nja de ni ga tenbe yu de ni ga tenbe yu zong de se ji ti ze de do jeba jen yu be no men do lo jira dewa nyo za ye za she dewa nyo ni se be se me de se be se Debitala Chevachan Shino, the Sam Lani, Gurula Shabo, Done, Yevadami, Vadobasola, Yimeda Minjutation, more. Rani Chavachan, the Trouble, Tony, be more Trouble, he dominant which was the Yeva, she was recommended, the Dami, not done, and Yevan did. Digbata ne tempra ne dani ting ne she ya lai lo zu yu ru su men ju ru da da bi yu ne ju jang shi de ne ti men lo ja de de nyo ne sa ja kha yin da shin shi yu zo de nyo ne se ba ja kha yin ba se ba de ji ga la de de ne shi u me che rin de che rin tong yi ga la che ne se rung chung chen ru du ni ga yang che ze dra se nie ba mong bo to ji de yu nen de zo jie xie jiang chen bu zhao bia mi xin de mo la ba da ba zhe xie so nya xie so da de xia wu ze da ke zhen xun zu de de ya fong dou kan jie ge sa ni su zu ni gu ni da ten de mi pe ge Tondale any social permission, the next year, Mena, Yinguin in the charge of this. Do you know Yinguin in the police or Tindak Tondale in the hand troll, you see? Or take God that in the Yinguin in the Kayoma, this star, Yimbo Yoma, because the dishes are one. That the Yimbo may have gone until a Yingu in the Mongoshuna, in the Jong is our t-shirt.
Geshe read from page 167, volume number 2 in the English translation of Lamrim Chenmo, The Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa, to page 170 on the top. Just to recapitulate what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, we have been dealing with the need to cultivate patience or tolerance, seba in Tibetan, and we can do that by way of thinking in many different ways. So one of the things we talked about is this, that when others belittle me or put me down or make me look bad, then I get angry with them because that how to say prevents me from becoming famous and well known and all of the above. And so we already talked about that, how there is no substance and essence in what others say about us, and so today we are also going to talk more about, from another perspective, if you will, that how praise and all such things have certain faults or limitations. Praising is not necessarily good and in and of itself.
Oh, that is that develops a symptom of the that is Jones. His do what? Says the Yinguin to the pen, never can the jiggers and the Yinguin so told my by Iwan dance, said that bit Phuntsok was the who doesn't go share any gate out of Shuna. In so ya get of Kias, the same young doctors. In the joy was that you was on the big call you take Marwa, but you get Jarawa. You did chocolate yes. In Jabata Geshe and Yambasho, said that in there in the new that they just show the exam. People like Gyeltsen, Gomja, and Consider Tizolia Geshe. Or that is because so that you join what today you didn't touch his duty. Some of them any Karsa. You join your chat this time, Yungunya so will pick it. Karsa Paya Shan, any Korea. Sure, she was doing this and entity that you then do we need to get some of them in a car race. To go at the Junju, those are done in Tierney Joan and Jigwashi, your nasal child daughter, Phuntsok and Jigwashi, Jesus, did a come to Junju today. The heat and that.
Give me a second. Did I miss some pages here? Skip. Okay, I'll translate what Geshe said first, not to waste my time. So, as a practitioner, when we look at others praising us and doing all sort of things, that becomes there are a number of problems with that. For example, it can distract our mind from our spirituality and spiritual development. Now we get caught up with all this, singing praises in honor of us and buttering us up and all of that. Can be very distractful. And also, another problem related to that is when we get so much caught up with what others are saying about us or not, and then when others make us famous, in the footnote for a time being, it's not going to be forever, we know that. That's what not Geshe said. Okay, translator is intercepting here. And then we might, get caught up with this whole mundane desires and activities. And so it looks like, hey, samsara is not bad after all. Everybody seems to like everybody likes Raymond kind of thing. And everybody likes me. And everybody is, full of praises for me. And so that can, how should I say, prevent us from developing aversion to samsaric existence. If you feel samsara is a happy place to be, or situation to be for that matter, it is not bad after all. But then who wants to get out of samsara, right? Because it is nice. So there's a problem. So if we think samsara is a happy to be in, then we will not develop aversion to samsara and getting out of samsara. Then also other problems that related are that maybe so much caught up with others, rendering service to us, making offerings to us and praising us and, all of the above. It's in the process, when we see that they're doing the same thing other people as well, then we might become jealous of them, like, oh, maybe he or she is getting more praise and more gifts. That's not good. Is it good for me? No. So you see, all this what called neurosis things can happen to us. So we get distracted, which means we don't invest our time and energy to do something positive, geva, virtue. Instead, we get caught up with the whole mundane affairs of samsara.
No, 제가 먼저 가지 대신에 제단신 대로 앞에는 매지 튼전으로 분석 봐야 되는 애네 년다 정보를 위해나 그자를 야 애니 용계의 등교 먹고시 서서야 돼 내가 먹고시고 매 먹고 야시고 해서 자디 됐다 무슨 저 차고라 어디서 차고 됐습니다. 인터가 이제 도시 요원자 애니 소설 미가게 되게 애니 타도시야 그 가스타디 전두시야 소설 먹가 어째서 뭐부시 용거 버리스 진짜 가서 다 용도도现在我得大如果大感觉变做就现在没不些说的大我批的就没呢过的节奏性现在要嘛的可能那个用这不是的是吧就在去新给人是多是吧但他不说嘛现在那是quoi是吧
I think based on our, our life experiences, or for that matter, observations, we can understand some of these things. For example, if we kind of have enough and live a very simple life, then we have more time at our disposal, right? Provided that we're interested in spiritual development and transforming from within ourselves. If we don't have interest, that's a different matter, right? So we're not going to go there. Let's assume we have some interest in inner transformation. Then life is simple, not complicated. We don't have too many things. We are contented with what we have, and so we can use our time resources to do practice and cultivate. On the other hand, if we could become very successful in mundane affairs of samsara, right, we are becoming rich, and then we're becoming very famous, and so then, of course, there will be a lot of people who wants to make connection with us, because they think that you can help them, as first said. They put their hopes and aspirations on you, pin down on you, high expectations of you, and they make all kinds of requests. Could you help me here, there, whatever the case may be. So we get caught up with all that. That's an extra responsibilities put on one's shoulder, right? Because now people think you are rich, you are famous, you have connection and all resources, right? So why not ask you? Because life seems to be great with you. So give me some. So that, and then of course, not everybody is going to like you. There will be other people who are not happy that you are successful. Like they think like, oh, I have to be careful what I'm going to say. Almost an American way, I said something strange, but okay, stop it. Mindful. So then you know what, they're like, yeah, I can just beat you in your game. I can be richer than you. I can be more famous than you. So they're going to compete with you, and they're going to be jealous with you, and they're going to, do the things to beat you down. So this is how we get caught with all these mundane affairs of life, which means forget about Dharma. There is no time, to cultivate it.
That's somebody today. That to good as I'm taking a so no idea on the shit. That did my in the third I never, so the being here, because of my mother to shop, in Tigger, you and then he said.
So generally, we might think that if others are praising us, so that means we are becoming kind of well-known. That seems to be kind of a good thing, we might think. And we are kind of happy, as long as it exists. But then, others, stop praising us, and maybe our reputation is going down the tube, whatever. That kind of, makes us unhappy. But here in the Dharma context, becoming less famous is not necessarily bad. Maybe it's a good thing. If your praise is going down, you don't have to go nuts. Maybe it is a good thing.
Somebody did that. Somebody did that. Now, dog, about the Chinese, the younger number 7. Dog, you know, someone, Song Jie, the Chape Chima Juji, Dungil and Joba David, Go Geshe, Geshe, Sanji, Chingila. Nyam the Savne, Yin Tawani, Toa Gaji, Gawajavasha, this or that. In the sort of Yunguyan America, Gagapi, Mimgam, Mobo, in Dick Sosa Carpingo does and dipping those city. In this Karsa, Yambashe, Yambashe, darling, you don't draw Sungjis. That's all began because the cougar of the Shetamena in the Legama, we are some diamond, the Tizik became laid over the soya, Miguel, soya, young or what, Jackson Shogo Martico, Yogishogo Marti. Said that easy. Nundrol Sungji, Shakbe Shumajuji. That new Guinea, she had good till a Shakwe Patia Shomo or what, Shakbe Shumajuji. Dungel Jo do Gogi, that Dungel Payan to Pahundo Sidon, Tinita Kaya, Dungel God Kaya Naki, Ningunya never came, so that maybe and pay Sanji Shinata of the Rechas. Or she said, young in the sun, Yingta and the Toa Gashi, to go a shadis, give a shadis, to get dog to so near. She chilled contact yet never to that landing in Sonti. Sung Jer. Humanum, Daniel, Troaton in La, 이각고지 신미고 강다 다지 주셔봐 대라다니 시다 초스 에 다니 동이 죽도는 산지 제니 신라시 메도 고버 니켜봐 대라다니 시다 초스 요시다 디데 산지 시길라바 데지레샤스 디베 동에 고가야 니니라와 냐는 거 루자데스야도 셰니 펜조기 하정 예보메바디시나 에네 어디 에네 그 소설이 세들이 여와프소서와야 시망이 송송야 묘무총을 줘야 어디 개매 기분 도서가다 가지로.
So we are on top of page 168. Those of you who have this English translation, there are 3 stanzas quoted from Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Shantidevas engaging in the Bodhisattva deeds, or Junju, Bodhisattva Char Avatar, to substantiate the point that has already been made and we are still trying to make it. Should our praise go down? In other words, people started to stop praising us, or our praise decreases. Maybe we can look at it as a good thing. Maybe it grounds us in reality, isn't it? Because when we get praised, we're soaring too high, and and we lose touch with the reality, because now, I'm somewhere, in La La Land, What is not said here, La La Land, by the way. You know that. And so when those things stop, it's grounded. Now I know who I am, kind of a thing, so it grounds us in reality more. And it really prevents us from creating a lot of negative karmas, because now we really don't have to lie and boost of our image unnecessarily, like I'm somebody, which we are not, So, that's a good thing, isn't it, right? We don't have to lie and deceive and manipulate and, and sneaky and all of that, because, hey, life is more liberated. I can be myself now, So that's a good thing. So when we stop creating those negativities, that's like, closing the door to go into bad migrations, isn't it? Because lying and deceptive and manipulative, this really sucks, So that's not a good thing. So as, we become life becomes very simple and grounded, we get less attached to things. After all, we don't have much, isn't it? We are accumulating too much. We attach to this and that and that and that, Now we are able to cut off that binding factor to possessions, to people, and to anything, right? So less delusion, right? Which is a good thing. That's what we want. We want to decrease our afflictive emotions or delusions, And so as we do that, we are really protecting ourselves from being reborn in the bad migrations or fall off the precipice into the unfortunate states of rebirth. So, decrease in praise is a good thing if we learn to look at it from that perspective, right? We are grounded in reality. Okay? It helps us to do more positive things because life is simpler, right? Not crazy and hectic. It helps us to decrease our attachment to things, which means delusion is down, thumbs down, it's going down. And so good things are happening from a Dharma point of view.
어디에 세다 뒤여러 가서 เป็น소소 당월 배 님중 접시기다 현다 관계 매대 매라들에 배 쪼버도 샤되나 현다 소동동야 저 일로도 같이 시나 대좀 콘도 셰프 사고 말아 대주고 가이와 소속 배 가로 인선도 시대 이미 때지라나라 아 말배 휴인선은 콘샤는 거라고 세다 그 송당도 뒤인서 왔다 가지고 소소 뭐 쪼버 당하고 마우 삼로 뒤에서는 현다 코로나야 좀 리가 가리니리도 간대시나 에네 될 콘도사고 말이지 가르세는 디스이면데 변에 기계 기르도 소동다 가대시는 기르디 기계를 코로사고 말고 그때 가르서 타보고 기계 와가 있어 그 삼바마고야라 되게 잘 코로사고 말와 어디 나기 에네 비게 가르서 녀다서 냠데네 에네 소소 쪼고서샤 소소 미쳐다고 뭐도 나도 까드면서 쓰고 말해 월 치면도 메사야 상도 그래서 저러 어디 따잖아 애는 이제 뭐 좀 가도 가지다 어디 줘
Say when life is simple, others are not praising us like a hallelujah thing, And we don't have to worry too much about possessions and things because really we don't have much. We're contented with what we have. So from spirituality point of view, there's a lot of advantages. Should others say something unkind to us, we are not going to necessarily get really very negatively reactive. When we think I'm somebody, and then you say something like, "How dare you say that?" Because I'm that, right? But when we think I'm a humble person, right? And even if others say something, you are not going to be very reactive in that because I'm somebody, and how dare you say that to me? Okay, you said something not good. Okay, so that is good thing. See, arrogance is down, and humility is up, and so that's a good thing. So we become more tolerant person, right? When you become very famous and very rich, in one way you become very intolerable. As soon as somebody says, "How dare you say that?" I'm a billionaire. Come on. And how dare you say that? Because I don't know. If you allow me to say, I'm a commissioner. How dare you say that to me? So that's not good. He didn't say that. I just throw it in. Because I have to attack my arrogance here. So the example Geshe has given is that, of course, maybe in the Dharma context, when you think about the guru, chela, or the teacher-disciple relationship, it's a very unique, right? And when the teacher admonishes the disciple or student much, the student really still appreciates that instead of getting mad like, "How dare you're saying too many things to me," right? Because the teacher has, is very concerned about your well-being, and so is saying the things that just to help you be a better human being or better student or whatever the case may be. So students usually don't get mad with their teachers. And so we'll be something like that. We think that everybody's my teacher, They care about me, So they're saying the things they're saying, not because they hate me, just because they care. So I can't be mad with people who care, right? So that's the thing. And Kadamba Geshas are very well known for being very humble. They're the humblest human beings, among the humans, And some of the Kadamba Geshas have said, as Geshe quoted from his memory, they really think there's nobody below them. If there's something, that's just the earth and the water. Everybody else is above me. I should respect them, right? The only thing below me is the earth and the water. Yeah? So that's how, when you become that humble, then we become more tolerant and more grounded, and we become less reactive and less neurotic and psychotic and all that,
This is that because social merabangi and that you social paper to the issue Marty. She knows social tatang of the champagne. In the one that so the church of good year of be. But the Sabat government did they mean the Tagase Kodolong 상부 최다질 대잖아. 세바 검도 가지나 거 시다 총총이 와요 말와. 다 깨는데 망고 쉬우나 이 되게 소도 상무 최소도 야고 유나. 배다 뒤로 소 종으로 다 매야고질 대바다 콘도서부기 대샤 세베톱 디시 예바 최종으로 봐. 그렇죠. 돈다 실례도 보시나. 소소리야 디리 메라 땅게 드서길 시야 소소 삼루 최소 해서는 인소야 못사야 누구 그랬어. 다 소소 삼루 최소마다 나다 가서 서지는 다 코로로야 소소야 누구라.
So the point that's being made here is, that kind of a perspective is very beneficial and useful in our everyday life, right? Regardless of whether others have a beneficial intention in making me look bad or bad-mouthing me, whatever, right? I'm not going to test their intentions, right? Just that, whatever they said and done to me, but here's an opportunity. If I can adopt that perspective to look at it, they're providing me an opportunity here, right? To cultivate patience, to grow spiritually. I'm thinking about this. If you're going to hang out with, let's say, good people, I don't know wherever they are, but let's say, people who really don't seem to get mad, they look like happy, they don't seem to say anything bad, right? What's the chance of cultivating patience, And we all feel into that kind of a delusional thing like, oh, I'm a very patient person because everybody around me is nice. Nobody's making you go crazy, So what do you mean? You are very patient and tolerant. The only way we know how much patience we have cultivated, the strength of this is when we are among those who give us hard time, right? Now we know litmus test is here, right? Somebody will say the darnest thing, and then we know where we are. So therefore, to develop patience, strengthen it, being with troublemakers is not necessarily bad. It's a great opportunity, Praise the Buddha, it's a blessing here. They're providing us a real opportunity so that we don't have a big mouth, like, hey, I'm a patient. Like, what do you mean? Like, okay, you are a patient, here I am. Do it. So that's great, right? That's a great opportunity here. So we have to acknowledge that. And it is, if we can seize the opportunity, then there's a much a chance for us to accumulate merit and grow spiritually. Of course, Geshe, I was chuckling over that. For us, maybe that's not how it works, right? Should somebody said something like, well, like, what? How dare? So, but we have to learn, right, to change our reaction, to be proactive, and to cultivate patience in a given situation.
다 가르사 니발라서 som의 시와는 메스바 가바네 데레 다 소소베 메라다네 니발라서 와시드잖아 니주시와 데르와다 가지 어머니버로와다 가지 가지도 어떻게 그 가르치는 사람 소소 디가 누구 말려고 다 근데 상관도 하래도 가르치는 아니 가바네 세는 유제메 무슨 제 내가 잡은 라세 다 셈세야 되는 숙제 말아 그래서 내가 시세야 지 동해지야 대화지야 어디 세야 될 이게 그 숙제산 연구해서 샤워로 어디서 온다 미래라 류를 뭐 네발레 유네 세는 내가 인디션 다 류를 그게 휴번도 찍시나 인류를 뭐 내가 이 류를 내 셈다 류니에 내가 때한테 말아서 되게 류 땐셈을 내가 라위는 시고로와 이는 예발을 류를 내가 미니 베스 류를 무슨 내가 말아 소동타야도 베라 가세바나 나사탄 거 말아 가까이 지금 말아 그래서 내가 말이지 류심니까 제가 다 셈을 그러나 내가 이 속심에 내가 류를 무슨 내가 말이지 소동탄 가지시나 내가 말아 어디서 근데 가와셔 냐는데 셈니 이 메디가디 제가 티스타 근데 그게 소설 니지시네 왜 독자도 메라 밤게 슝나 어디서 왔다 되게 무슨 강아야 자 내가 소설 가까이 넣으면도 제가 뒤에서 소설에 맞기면 쉬고 하면도 좀 어떤 상황도 그래서 왔다 그래서 그 기전도와 소설 누구에는 다 촉촉으로 와 소설 많이 이제 다그 촉의 기전스럽게 차야 말아 제가 디네시 이 밑에 될 컨트롤 어디 이 밑에 가셔나 이 컨트롤 식도 해서 왔다.
We are in the middle of page 168, subpoint B. So where we are dealing with things such as if others have contempt for us, and this is one of the things usually we find it hard to tolerate. And what Geshe has explained here is that contempt really does not, harm our mind, because our mind is formless, right? It has no physicality. When usually we talk about harming each other, right, that is more thought of in terms of physicality, right? Somebody can beat you up, or somebody can, kick you, or whatever, right? But nobody can kick the mind. Nobody can beat up our mind. So mind has no form, and contempt, does not harm our mind. So therefore, there's no reason why we should be mad with the people who have that for us. But then we might say, in the case of like a beating, nobody can beat our mind, but they can beat our body and cause some pain. So because mind and body are so intimately connected, so therefore, when the body gets pain, mind goes crazy, But in the case of contempt, there is no such thing. Contempt cannot cause harm even to our body, isn't it? So the contempt neither harms the body nor our mind. So why are we getting mad with them? That's the point, right? So we have to tell it ourselves. We are not really telling somebody, right? When I'm in a given situation, I say, you know what? Okay, it neither, harms my body nor my mind. So why am I getting disturbed by this? If we can prevent our mind from being disturbed, because disturbed mind gives to unhappiness, right? Now we can be very unhappy. When we can prevent our mind from being disturbed, thinking that way, then we see the reason why. There's no reason why should I make myself unhappy. So that's one way to think and deal with contempt.
Karsa, that the Kong de Bro, the day in Legion Mine, the Suja County on Shuman, Lil never Shambin, Lune, doing target near the Sitama, the Manipay, thick tea, Lil never mentioned the same cheddar, same Gigi rubbed the troche sauce. She don't that because he has six of the mirror of down, I take Lusim Khan and Manu, the social because men maybe chever means that could get some of the that's so he that Marvin so give it to you share. And he sent out men the door do you not a high Marva. But you so kid to check your Marsua. What he made any talk where you say what was
right. So Geshe basically read those two stanzas quoted from Shantideva's engaging in the Bodhisattva deeds. The bottom line point here is, regardless of what others say, good thing or the bad thing, nothing is going to change with you, isn't it? Because you are going to be you. If they say you are great, it doesn't necessarily mean you are going to be great. If they say you suck, you don't have to suck because if that's not your situation. So, don't let others define who you are and, nothing is going to change with you. So then, what's the big deal about getting and, going banana about that, when you could remain still you?
Well, that didn't much Kadum Geshe of Sungdushi, the Roshi, the Sharavashini, Kaunum Bas, and Nesurba, Changbasiamida. Some like, the Chitam Sayans, and the Dolama, the Che maybe, the other Jones. Chimagumento, Ingun Sabes, Meadow Shung Sumbatos. This is what Takaji. I'm just supposed there, Kalaka Nien, to get a near to that. Karsa direct Gawashi, then what did she have to young waters? So the big Harlan, I'm just took what they can shut than this second one. Karsa, Sungi the day, shut out with some more. That common budget, news budget, Changbat, some like because it's a doll pay love his son, Magos or Yorist, because he loved done. She had a thing in the corners bed, Tabard took the given waters. That didn't much. I'm sure somebody because Tawari could do it trade also. Hope to do. Yaga me, don't me, can you make out the energy? We came out on the girls. Can you also got in you are?
Not a confusion again. So we have what the great Kadamba Geshe Sharawa has said at the bottom of page 168. And so as Geshe explained, according to Geshe Sharawa, we should learn not to be reactive, to others' comments, but learn to stay more solid like a rock. They can say whatever they want. I just can stay like a rock. Rocks don't get hurt by the bad words or the abusive language, whatever. Rocks are rocks, And so maybe we have to learn to be hard of hearing when others say unkind things to us, so that, if we are too sensitive, we just like, others say anything good about me, bad about me, then our ears are a little too, sensitive, and then we can, be easily carried away by others' comments. But if we learn to be ourselves, be firm, stay like a rock, whatever others say, it doesn't matter, then it's not going to hurt us and disturb us. And so Geshe was checking over this. I think probably it's referring to what we call Gandhiji's three monkeys. Have you seen that? There's one monkey with mouth covered, one with eyes covered, one with ears covered, right? Means I'm not going to look at anything negative and bad, right? I'm not going to be big mouth and say all the yucky stuff, right? I will be, shut up my big mouth here. And I'm not going to listen to all the, what crappy things. I'm going to close my ears. That's what it is. Learning not to be too sensitive to others' comments.
Oh, this is that you did of that the cars are so tatang she said that big jamnu read what this was that cases Shenda socially yeah, but the education so money transaction Tigo new, I'm just too much in the phantom of no younger. She's so tatang money that the Tig do or but it that money transaction for a Shenda never that today she big good share and no in the time to question the better more go do what so that not didn't she go.
If we don't want others to hurt us, harm us, then others cannot really. The reason why we get hurt by others' comments is because we let it be. We become very reactive, we become too overly sensitive, and we care about what others are saying too much. And then in those conditions, of course, what others say matters. When they say you are great, then do you think you are great? If they say you suck, then you suck. But if we say, I'm not going to play that game anymore. I'm not going to let anybody to define who I am. Then it doesn't matter what others say about us.
Langmi da shimele shevale one chela shi songbe den tama ji do beji chue songs tievre da karsa shendo sa gazun ji ro di tilpa krak goje kamu de ba tagazi chi shungen za and go ka zebola ya dongxiao chue chorosu and tama shi 제 계절 참여 계절 시어 제가 참마시야디 참마시어데 네바 요 말이신 근데 규전시 소소 따당데스 뭐 송에 비와 디 송이자 근데 디네 송데레 근데 디 참마신게디 베디 참마시다 시에는 거리 생리 분부 성리세 자 야구자고 모두
그렇죠. 근데 양주스는 얘기디 직접스게 디 까다마기 셔르베게 셔든잖아
라
기시 기시디 셴덴스가
셴도르세들
까다마기 셔르베
어데데
나서
셴도르세 가이도
안 가르쳐 버서게 양주스
디 딱고 너무 깨져세는 참마시하고 깨져세는 참마시요 뭐 참마시비 니밍저부터 셰러와
알레오
디 셰도 자네 디네 송도 참마신게 되고 참마시하고 비 삼셔버려서
나서 So we are on top of page 169, where there's a statement made by another Kadamba Geshe by the name of Shedun. And so in his conversation with someone, and he really talked about the problems or the disadvantages of engaging in divisive speech. How we cause all kinds of dissension among people and divisiveness. And then that person was really very much kind of convinced by all that faults, and then he stopped using divisive speech. So that means I think if we think about the demerits or the disadvantages of engaging in such action, then we will be able to stop such actions.
Meko nyan shen tereja kajeta en soso ngodi ne baske men soso pege dukja de mera tang do mangbo yena en tisi khasa shen da soso mega mo ro ko was je mega mo ro te direct on da choya gize ro ti is la na se wa wa da ne si chok jan ti ne ran la chen minjur be mega pon de shen da mega 티네 세대 세신라 다라 사와 미신나 다지데 데민데스 데카르 가지 셴다 소소리야 메라탄 거 먹고 유나 엔 소소 네바 망하다 엔 데라탄 게 데데 먹고 유나 엔 소소 지워 용하게 데데 티제 가야 로고 말마 어디서 거 데데 로고 연데 가야 말스 소소 가서 대화 강가 찍고 인자 소소 대화 너도 인데 가야 말마 얘는 현다 그게 소설 카드 거 먹고 얘도 소설 미지 버샤 그 동행 용하다 현다 그게 드랍 동의를 먹고 소 기본이하고 이게 편도 가요 말이 제가 얘는 때는 야 가야다 매는 메가 쉬고야 메다 대 소설 대도 저하면 두시고라
맞아 we're on top of page 169 where it stated sort of in interrogative form that, I know that when others comments do not harm me per se, but then what happens is that kind of spoils my image, and then many people dislike me or they don't like me. So that's why, I get mad or upset. If this is our reaction or our rationale behind that thinking, then as Geshe explained that if we really take a moment to examine others' dislikes really are not the cause of our own, happiness. Yes, everybody wish for happiness. Nobody wants any kind of pain or suffering. But belittling and praising are not the real causes of happiness, And so therefore, we must not attach that much importance to what others say. If others belittle us, just don't gotta get too much disheartened and, be like crying baby or something. He didn't say that, but, there. And when others praise you, then we just look like, oh my gosh, for just freaking out. Don't do that either, because these are not the real causes of what we are seeking. What we are seeking is happiness. Others' praise is not a cause of happiness. What we don't want is a suffering. Others' belittling is not a cause of a suffering. They are not related to what others are saying about us.
Meba de menye mama chowo yana se de da ngos de bige ene meratan social bige lana neba khaime du se yina le ene social bige merata yo mambo de ye zang ene membo wo de su de social bige ningur yen da de chu neba de cha ro da su de boa sin se sangsing ji ma de su mo le de yin nyung ro wo ra wa se
No, sure.
wa se de nyung ro za yu ne ne do su ngos khaime ne na you knew the shit I talk with you said it today.
No, sir.
Or till that in it this girl. No, never told you, and that never the garage showing in a mambo showing in any call. She do the shan drive with the cut in a left she any gomuching the Kiara Marvas.
No, sir.
That deep a land one child the she in this or that has a tribute the budget no, that. Call your train trouble in the what in the day shall march, still mongol mar just join so in young chorus. She said, never rather da Mara, that cajun China. Never said that there's finger me, still on the shower, that you don't say Shima Pasha water, that sure killing again to the wa.
No.
She said, never did Kizzy finger you said that you were is. Any Seba go in a dig. Payment big George in the Yajigo Ragi, then there was your Gildugora. But said that he came in of it, that nigger with finger money, Sebago in the 10th finger. The Kuni came in Shajung Chan Shen in the Tojo, rest is worse.
Now, as we are kind of doing this kind of thinking, and then again our neurotic minds, speaks too loud here. So, what, yeah, I know, don't tell me, when others praise me, it really doesn't directly, harm me or anything like that, but indirectly it does, and when, the praising decreases, then people started to ignore me, and they're not going to, make gifts to me, they're not going to serve me, and so therefore, indirectly, it's kind of harmful to me, if that's how neurotic mind speaks up loudly like that. And so how to address that issue. Let's assume that, through, this image management thing, others like you so much, and then they make gifts, and then they give you all the connections, and then you become very rich. But think about that. Our life has a limit. So when the life comes to the end, however rich we are, we cannot take anything with us, isn't it? It has to be left behind. There is no plan B here, like choose the plan B. He didn't say that, right? But that's it. Whereas whatever negativity, karma we created is going to follow us into many lifetimes, and so it is much more detrimental, isn't it? We can become super rich, but if the life snaps, the riches has to stay here, and we cannot can carry it with us. Whereas if we get mad with others and we engage in negative karmic action, those will affect our lives over many lifetimes. So the point we are here is we are doing cost-benefit analysis, isn't it? Long-term goal, right? My third footnote, I don't know, lost my number. Marketing analysis, cost-benefit analysis here. So we say, you know what? Okay, let me do the cost-benefit analysis, And I want people to praise me. I want to become super rich in all of those things. Okay, so what do I get out of it? The benefit, right? And what do I have to give up? Yeah. And then if I don't become rich, and I'm not going to become famous, but I'm going to be okay, then, what's the cost-benefit analysis from long-term basis? So if we do that from a spirituality point of view, as a Dharma practitioner, right? When we think in terms of long goals, many lifetimes, because we do believe in life afters, right? If you don't believe in that, that's another storyline. But let's say we care about our future lives, then it's much better not to, it's much better to be patient. Don't go bananas and get mad, because that's very detrimental. Be patient, because the patience will produce a lot of beneficial effects in this life and in many lifetimes. As a matter of fact, patience is the way leading to enlightenment. That's all where we want to go, you see. So we see that it's much more beneficial to be patient, and so make our choices, make our decisions,
Oh, damn, that shit. Said the big Karsa, that never told me you were shown the country Panta give the Michel and Pento Marva, she was. She doing that big said the big lob Geshe give us David. Can you imagine give a David in a shit with the son? The Saju, the Chippashowers, can you that? Not that shooting you some lot on and the Josh with Jewel Pay some don't go. So that didn't bet lot. Yata Tonda they watch and tell Mahopa the Chica Pengo Marva. So the Suba could not test the good take Mahopa Pengo. She's the surgery of solution or take any Suba Gunyati, surgery chair. So the Queen says at the time, Dam God of Shina, Suba Gunyat and Dam goes.
So this mundane pleasures, which we regard as happiness, however happy we're going to be in this life, let's say whether we are happy for a day, or we're happy for a few months, or we're happy for, let's say, we're going to live over 100 years, right? And then after that, story has to end. It can't continue. Life will snap. But when we die, it doesn't matter whether you were happy for a day or happy for 100 years. It just ends here, and then nothing goes hereafter. Whereas if we cultivate virtue, such as patience, not only it helps us in this lifetime, but it will have a long-term effect over many lifetimes. So if we look at that, then we can see what is the wise thing to do, whether we should choose patience or whether we should choose mundane pleasures in this life and then, get involved in negativities.
Oh, this is the conjecture. Because legat of teaching, the cool large young girl was it. Large young to see what what is what? I think that's large men to spend a million negatives. A million Lord Jarvis, Gibbashia, minimum with that. Cases of Gibbashia, minimum when you citizen, you got Chipadema, Lord Jab Gibbashia, they were the pen shot. Cases of Gibbashia in the Pemba your models. You got a temper used out of you, Pendokan, your models. What did the Gibbashia?
So the example given here is just like, dreaming about being just crazy happy, let's call it. You're crazy happy, even for a moment, for 100 years in your dream. But once you wake up, it's a dream. Doesn't matter, right? Whether you had a moment of happiness in a dream or you were crazy happy for 100 years, once you wake up, right, it's just a memory. There's nothing left, right? You can't just say, wow, that was 100 years in my dream, right? I'm still happy. Like, no, that's it, end of the storyline. So therefore, this whole mundane pleasures we think about at the end of our life, it just remains as a memory. There's nothing. It's not going to have a beneficial effect in over many lifetimes.
What is that? Because there are some Yangula Shavong, don't never the never drop us, never the never the Dujashi, never dona nyeba dang menye droba sola yi me dewa munjude shenji ngor rangi chebar jendu droba tonyer mebe se ma drop jang yi dewa dewa mundo shero so odi da sue de na edi henda kare me do sosu be sendi kibo yongor sta yongor ba ka nulen shi di samo mo bodang de sem me dewa ma do ya mara ba da kazi shi da de be namdo za ni mebe na edi 어디 소소 샘디 기보 용거래스 다 건조가 있어 매야라도 거를 가서 랍디데 마데 도구 말이디 소소 대화자자 용거래스 어디입니다.
So if you learn to remain unperturbed by what others are saying, good or bad things, praising or belittling, that way we can protect our mind. Our mind can stay peaceful, right? And from peace of mind, we can gain certain happiness, isn't it? So that is the better way to go, rather than we become very reactive to what others are saying about us, and then that gives rise to this endless preconceptions and thoughts about that crazy things go, and then mind get disturbed, and life becomes very hectic. Instead of choosing that way, let the mind be peaceful, let the mind be happy. Don't react to others' comments.
대대량은 중심으로 예배 바지 시베지 게데 대다 문제나 나 예반 될 도지 득바타네 아니 템버네 다네 tech니 실라이 로즈유링 소메롱 다다 유네 저장 시외등의 대니 이 민로게 대뇽네 세바키와 강이다 현지 유즘 대뇽네 세바키와 강이바 세바테니 세바 대다 니깔라양 대와테니 실 대와 셰니 우미 실 대와테니 실 슈미 체링 좀 체링 체동 니깔라 치외돼서 된다세 니바몽부터 이제 유령돼서 제치장 전부 저바 현지 시현지서 저물라 보통으로 예수스 다 되기도 찍바리도 가지 멜름 시켜버려서 쳐버리도 하셔야 예바디 가르쳐서는 이바 뭐뭐시나 아니 디바사야 그게 차진도 때문에 시도르스 디바데 쉐보데 살레데 람사 신가요레스 디스고다 디바 때문에 당니 시양 라이세 제다다 디바사니 디베텐 시니 유르고 소알레 에드베 시샤나 디야가요레스 로조 유르 처음에서 로조세다 진짜시 비면로 다 소소를 비게 예바다 꾸티시고 뭐보이나 에는 디지그 스피 뭐보드 시야지다 다 가르사 수준도 시야디 피치 다 게다 뛰드다는 소소 이동도 시야지 좀 말해 어떻게 그래 있어라 다 디레 고네는 소아 라스는 로조를 거라 셰드 네 저자다 니 셰드 능이 디 셰드 능이 제가 가인바 현지스도 대뇽네 세와죠 가인바 세와데 이가랑 대화티니 실명 세르누 가리난 자 마이난 드그리스 아니 세드드 가르치는 맞은 아니 같이 세자리스 예보모부터 이런 수계 전에 춤부 줘버시 근데 레벨하고도 뭐 실루도나 아니 맨페 노진르 찌 구메 베 초네 베게 지금에요 초네 당샤와 지금 샤다 왔어 실루도잖아요 뭐 이제 소 냠도리아티 인 노디 펜제 토고 말이스 시다다 디제 그바도 메베 고니 셰네 비게 서바 공부리 있어서
So Geshe-la's explanation pertains to things you find towards the bottom of page 169 over to page 170. So basically, as Geshe-la explained, that we must not be too much caught up with seeking name, fame, gain, honor, and all sort of those things, because there is no essence or substance to that, On the other hand, when we get too much caught up with becoming rich, becoming famous, and all of those things, that might entail creating a lot of negativities. So those negativities, karmas, when they ripen, we have to pay for our karmas. So it's not worth to pursue gain, honor, fame, and creating a lot of negativities. And as a practitioner, this is what we should tell ourselves. If this involves too much negativities, it's better for me to die, than survive and create more negativities. It's better to die because it's not that bad. With less negativities, then live too long and create too much negativities. This is what we have to tell ourselves. Because leading a long life with a lot of negativities is very detrimental from long-term perspective. Now that would involve the wrong livelihoods, right? In Tibetan called lokso, which right? Just trying to pretend who we are not. So we become hypocrites, isn't it? And then people who are nice to us, now we have to be super nice to them because then they can give us gifts, more. And or we give little things to get more things from them. We just have to play that game of gifting and re-gifting, whatever right you call it. So it just gets too crazy life, So in the process, we create a lot of negativities, and at the end of the day or the life, however rich we are, as we said before, nothing follows us. So we have to leave everything behind. It's going to be painful. You're super rich and you're dying. And now you can't carry anything, and you met so much negativities to be rich and to be famous. And when the life snaps, however rich we are, we go empty-handed, as if somebody has robbed all your riches. So it doesn't matter. You die poor or you die rich, you are empty-handed. And so thinking about these things, thinking these thoughts, so we should, cultivate, patience and see the essencelessness in all these mundane things and affairs.
다 지단으로 신데 왜 새들 대화 로자데 야부슈나 개와가 지로 계속 해면데 뒤디어 제발 열어봐. 계지지 대화 제와다 미세 대화 시 제와다 열어봐. 디다 가다 때다 추식이 있어. 추식에는 이 정신세 봐 예식 그게 스르타지 도시 있어. 계속 열어봐. 어디 계속 뒤가 다티 내가 가려고 그랬어. 되게 좋아 치마 표지 뭐 되는 거 표지요 말아. 어디 계속 가래 네 도거스. 티미시 양페 두보스 뭐다 키워서 쳐봤다는 거.
So Geshe would also emphasize this point. We are not denying the difference between comfortable life or uncomfortable life or all that. Of course, we all seek comfort. We are not saying that if your life is comfortable, don't be comfortable now. This is a bad thing. We're not saying that. Everybody wants a comfortable life. Be real with that. But what we're saying is that as a practitioner, we have our priorities are different, isn't it? We said, what? I want to follow the Bodhisattva's way. Well, what do Bodhisattvas care about? They care about the whole universe. They want to benefit all sentient beings. They engage in the perfections, right? And we said, well, we want to be like you. Well, those are our priorities. If those are our priorities, then we can't get too much caught up with the mundane affairs of life. It's very distracting, and which increase our delusions and which increase our negative karmas, isn't it? That's what we're saying. But we're not saying like if you have a comfortable life, don't leave that. Just become poor or something. So don't decode the message in the wrong way. Of course, everybody wants a comfortable life. But as practitioners, our priorities are different. If we want to be like Bodhisattvas, then we have to learn, to do more positive things and virtuous things and decrease the negativities. So with that, we will yield to you. We'll stop there, and we welcome your questions and observations. And yes. Sure, please use the mic. Thank you.
I can speak loudly.
Yes.
We talk about fame and fortune
Yes.
and really not trying to seek it, but what if it's thrown upon you? What do you do then?
Sure. Kurang kan di shue di yin sa 다 단다 데리야 균노 롱저 다 민다 냐라 서발레 좀 지겨 마슬라로 와게
어디
세베나 아니 다 균자 마셔로 와 기시 좀 맞아는 소소 당번에 다 가서 세냐다 여바도 유천부 여바나로 와게 다 가르쳐 그래서 다 규다 다 세냐다 여와
소소 되게 다
여비 이나
뭐 그걸 다 손으로 쳐서
나 여비 이나서 나
되게 다 그래 농제는 저거로 거기 약고서 이제 고어로 가서 손은 그지 빼서 거기 고어로
나
옛날서 고야를 최를 좀 마시나 그 좋은도야 그지 최신의 시야세나 애니 농주부터 쇼쇼자저로 되게 시대 계속도 뒤시어로 농주부터 처음 마셔는데 농주 가서 있는 이거로 다
그래서 시베 체속으로 와게 다 되게 들어와게 So that's a good question. The point we are making here is we are not against anybody becoming rich or who are already rich or already famous. But what we're saying is that, if we are not rich and we're trying to be rich, in the process, as Dharma practitioners, right, we invest our time and resources to be rich, and then we lose the opportunity to practice Dharma. So that's not the right thing to do, right? Our priorities are different. But if you're already rich because of your good karmas, or you're already famous, whatever the case may be, then say, does it really affect your Dharma practice or not, right? Don't get too much attached to those things. So it doesn't negatively affect your Dharma practice. Well, that's good. We all want to be rich. We all want to be famous and still practice Dharma, right? But if it's affecting our Dharma practice, then we have to rethink, isn't it? Recalculate, you know what? Okay, I should not get too much attached to my riches and my fame. Maybe use them meaningfully to benefit others and help others. That's what we can do.
테르와 정신심에 현동시야도 베지나 동부 대응고 보시서 코아지 마셔야 돼. 게다 소소 사문니지 약고 위해서는 이 벤저를 가져야 돼서 간가 배 현도를 샤긴이라고 그러고.
In the four ways in which bodhisattvas are able to benefit others is one of the things is we call koachima, means literally, giving the gifts to fulfill others' needs. So we already have resources. That's how we attract people, right? People have needs, so we have the resources and we benefit them. So once their needs are met, now we have opportunities to connect with them and share the spirituality and guide them in the proper way, right? So becoming rich is not necessarily bad or against the Dharma. What we're saying is, using it properly, right, to benefit self and others. Yes.
Thank you. So, listening to these teachings, especially these past few teachings on patience,
yes,
it's really, really challenging, I think, to listen because, just like today in terms of being, being bad-mouthed or whatever, but, I guess just not being angry when someone's really, really saying bad things about you or something. But you still want to address this issue. I think. You still want to address this issue because in some ways, like even at work, it could be really harmful if there's gossip about you,
yes,
and it affects other people that you work with. So it changes that, for you, it could be harmful for you, really. Okay. So really
so how do you do that?
So how do you address it? And I guess it's almost like same thing when you're getting beaten up, right?
Right.
Just like a few teachings ago, it's like when you get beaten up, I guess it's almost like how do you stop it, or without being angry.
Okay, thank you. I will. 그런 게 디스고를 다 드링기 다 스베골이야 디숭버와게 당가지고네 두 삼르스탄데 되가리디 군조 냠네 제대로 시라다 가고 차대요 와게 근데 다시행기 소소리아 역도 가르셔벤딜이야 아니지 가르서고래 그 야마제 페제다 가서 있는 대로 와게다 그래서 다 도네신 대고 사이셔 와게 그래서 다이네 양 디셔 와서 다 베나코나 차샤베나 간저 레가리아 미샹바지 돈다메니 민제스여나 와게 다 룽다 룽주 요마로 다 알고 가고 차대요 와 다이네 민제스여 주샤나 사소소 내가다 망부터 누구로 봐. 로게 그 민제 sö요 봐. 다 민제 sö요 이제 민제도 봐 세국으로 와서 봐. 거다 니네들 봐. 계지 말고 민제 sö네 sö가는 개발면 되든 데 말고 누구로 봐. 아 제사 미셴바 되게 가서 거다디 낙벌 내람라 먼저 보다 민제도 봐 세다블이야. 니주들 제시 잡고 거로 봐. 다 딜레 동래는 가르쳐 버렸어.
아 네. 동래는 다 뒤지거든. 다들 거 들어와 건지. 자기 맛이야 나 이시대데 오늘 저도 사모땅이 이 캠에 가려 두고 와. 되게 딱 이름을 기도 소소도 람서 수들 람서 냠서는 더 깨져 말아 봐.
No.
저다 미국 가르쳤는데 딱 콘도 사는 가득에 내내 마시는 가득에 코니 캠에 가득 어디 따라.
그래.
때따는 다 콘도 마시는 가득서 그 기제 몽보시에서 어디 가득는 엔텔 다디 gaya de gandu sta su chena da su soba go modo na ene mugi one so de demga do tel do san pi su po ko sawo na tige de war mo chi lamsa lang da da de ka ya ba
그래. 다이네 마다 단다기 코랑 페스템버와 내가 저자미 그다음에 민제 sö요나 로게.
mare
딱 민제 sö요 주선 되게 말아 봐. 간선하고 이제 자서 다이네 디 콜레르스 갸고 로게. 딱 코로 마사 보고 있는데 간대 쳐고 쓰고 로게.
ale te da bingje se ate te ro da chik de ya tel da di chi go karsa da shangdo la za yo ro wa chapa mai ban dok wa sia da so de bingje se so de ngone da xie me na e de porque 세계 신은 도야 탑은 세계 시고
노서.
다 세계 신은 단도 되래 누구나 아니 샤샤잖아.
노서.
어디 디가도 잡아 모임 도 봐서 디가 디여라.
노서.
어디 서도 지야 미지 라베는 지기는 거 누자서 지시들이야 그 지도는 누구라. 근데 세계 시통나 시 세계 시는 시윤도 말아 지 단도 세계 신은 수 되거야 축복는 병로야 소 샤도나 샤샤.
노서. What Geshe said is that, yes, he understands that, all the things we talked about, right, are not easy to put into practice. And we cannot be presumptuous as if we can put everything into practice, right? But the point here is that as we learn about the benefits of the patience and the disadvantages of getting angry, then we do the cost-benefit analysis and we kind of see the picture, right? And which one has more gain and which, and then try to sort of direct our mind into the right direction. So at least, we cultivate that, mental habit, right? We cannot say, I can practice everything right now here, right? We cannot, because it takes time to practice, to cultivate practice, to grow. So that's what it is about. Regarding the example you gave, let's say, somebody has created a whole gossip about one of us at our workplace situation, right? Now we address that issue. And as a matter of fact, in the Buddhist Southwest way of practice, as Geshe kind of cited for name, that we can probably do that better without anger, We find opportunity to meet the person and explain, do the clarification. And so that is needed, right? But then also we have to take into account if the clarification is going to resolve the issue, or it's going to make it worse, right? The other person is really not receptive to the whole thing. If you think by making the clarification it's going to get worse, then just we have to let it be for a while, because what's the point of clarifying when situation is going to get worse, So that's what it is, How are we doing? Yes, could you send the mic to the back? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit confused by something that was mentioned in the sense that the mind cannot get hurt. I'm under the impression that the mind can be hurt by people being abusive or, ill treatment or then I think of psychologists and I think of people being depressed and that mind for me that is, hurt leads to the body suffering and becoming ill. So maybe I'm confused with the definition of mind, according to Buddhism, but, that is the doubt I have.
Sure, thank you. Morangi tatringi sungjo delia that toglong shubi nasa morangi kwa de yabu mago men rosta taking on the deal of Rawaki. Shingi and Siku Chavina and then on the assembly at Nugumar Saja or Waki. 세상디 지잖아 낭베슈나 셰베 셈기 코덴데 뭐라 하모면 로스 간자 코란즈 누조베기 셈기 조다 사이콜로지나 셰베이나 셴기 소셜리아다지 셈라 포야데 럽기로 하게 셈라 포고요 와사 네고요 와스 디네베 겐지네 잠잠 아니 셈디 코카르소고다 네선자 디기 류라 나자케벌 소바다 교윤고도 와게 세상다기 디 셈라 네고 마르스와디 세세시나로 나스고도 와게
알레 뭐지 감 됐다 this that king so the way that so me give say 초den지 쪽으로 해야 되나
나래 미기 두자라도 셈라 포도 가라니 수불에 지도 하게 나서랑
예 디레 레디 지나 단다 디스고라 다시에도 누에나 텔레 누에네 체네 이 소소 때부터 노토야 좀 컨트롤 신 영조 대화 토야 메라 봐 거기 개종 따고 봐 텔레코라 샤샤제제나 다 때지 쉐르면 디가리아 더도 미기버 쉐르라요 말아
그렇죠
지다 다 노조 시다지는 셈코로 섭단도 없어 봐 사모 동안 디게 쉬어서 말아 셈코라 간제도 라자 샤우서 디게 있어서 그 먼저 셈코는 사모 동안 주주여서 공야여서 야저러 근데 콘도사야데 그게 코로 님이 상기상기시는 때 코로 숭숭 좋아도 뭐도 무슨 여러 와
그렇죠
심주주여서 지도 가야 말이지 저런 가모님도 스티 어디 찍어러 왔어 지난 어디 딱 거기 캠에 딱 있으려와 늘리시는 텔레 셰르시나 있는 미집 누구로 와 텔레 때지는 데다가 샤샤는 tanto passeio de gente traz para yedo como que dá me do marwa
awesome Geshe understands the question you raised yes I mean what others say do hurt our feelings but the things we're talking about here is when let's say we let our mind hurt by others' comments, and then we become angry and reactive. Then we are going to retaliate against that. So a situation can get worse, It's not going to be helpful. But the assumption and belief in Buddhism is that the mind can be changed and transformed and cultivated, right, higher level. Well, I don't want to be angry with the noise outside, so let me wait. The fire brigade noise. So we thought that, if we contemplate the faults or the demerits of getting angry, right, getting our mind disturbed, then we are able to find that it's much better to learn to ignore some of the comments others are going to make. Maybe we get hurt, but less, isn't it? But if we get too much engaged and too much responsive, we get more hurt, Or maybe we learn how to cultivate patience that we really don't get hurt, as a matter of fact. Maybe we feel more compassion for the other person. So we're talking about, that mind is capable of, right, doing other things. That's the point, yeah. Yes?
My question is there any connection between martial arts and Buddhism, and can any form of martial arts be used as a practice?
Sure. Koran ki shwe de dire ke da nangbe shwe da dan da di de wa ke takze ki martial art ke ki kung ku ge ba takze
ale
e ba ke kemi de takze ge do ke takze 동자学的
alo
디니 벌을 자와 여러 배사 게로바 간서 콘서 삼디 승거서 다디 작제 장에 될 세밀리아 시부 종다대 구동하게 디면서 제사 작제게 람네 아니 세밀리아다 즉 소조다다 딘데 여러 여마스 낭베체 디니 벌 자와 여러 여마스
작대샤다 가도 디 슈게 사바난다 쉬야 되러
No, I think Geshe has never seen Kung Fu, so we are not going to get communication here. Even with best of my Tibetan translation, Now I'm hurt. I'm just kidding. Maybe we need to show him a Kung Fu movie. Marikin did again. Tanda Kana de Zo again, Luze Shoga Sigma, Qi Gong, the Waidang Gong, the Jixer, Dongja Shu, Chido again. Or Digi da Nangbeshal Javayar Yamare, Digi Tone, the Lujon Salaf Yamar, Lujon Di Tone, Semria Sota Sotu Maresa Jova.
ale ta ti to le ya ji ti de thong da le ya ji sim ji mo bo phen ya da ti de zo gu long do ma da nang bu gu long do ro
Same Solaro also.
ti de gu long me na da ko picture da me ga do shak ma le
No, so, no, so.
jo wa so so ji ya si me phang ya so mo da de
No, so.
me ga do shak ro wa
No, sorry. So I'm sorry, I don't think we are going to get any answer to that because Geshe has no idea about the martial arts, and even I tried to change it into exercise, some kind, it didn't work. So sorry, there's no answer to that. Although he thinks that doing that martial art, although he doesn't know what martial arts at this point, sometimes, if you do it with a good motivation, maybe it's not necessarily harmful. Okay, that's what he said. But I know that's not the answer, to your question. So.
Back to what we were saying about the reactiveness. So then can we say that perfecting or becoming non-reactive to all these things, would that be considered achieving the perfection of patience?
Oh, okay.
It's like a definition kind of thing.
Sure. 다다기 디스고 로바긴 신기 상행기 가르쳐베네 소소델이야 유구메바 데스 라비죠 로바긴 세디 근데 대투베이나 로바긴 신기 야골라기는 두자라기는 세머로 대투베이나 로바긴 안디 이 가서 세베 파진 소브레스 거르베사 세베 파진기다 신이데 마선 로바긴 세 신기 소소 야갈람네 로바긴 셈리야게 디네메 로바 두갈람네 만데 대투베이나 이 세베 파진기 냠네 소브레사
세베 파진라 페체 다 누구지 다 디디 시는 것도 직디 책에서 하트데 특가 토보거와 직디 책에서 다고도 시어는 파지 책에서 자고 말해 그래와 시드가 저때 뱅비잖아
맞지 직디 로스
라
what Geshe said is that when we learn to remain unperturbed, disturbed by others' comments, I think it's in the direction, it is related to cultivating patience, perfection of patience, because for that to happen, we really have to also think about the 8 worldly concerns, right? We should not let 8 worldly concerns determine like, oh, I'm going to be patient with you, but then I'm thinking about 8 worldly concerns. That's not a patient, I'm just going to be smile, although I hate inside. And that's not, he didn't say that. I'm just making it more concrete so that we know where we are. So if whatever we do to counteract 8 worldly concerns, including remaining patient, so that constitutes a practice. So it is related to cultivating perfection of patience. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, please, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
In speaking of praise, so I'm a mother of 6 children, and continuously I give my children praise. Continuously.
Yeah.
Am I setting them up for bad karma? Because they're accepting that praise, and this is how I'm teaching.
Okay, can you repeat the last part again? You are a mother of 6. You're praising your kids like anything.
So in teaching my children, in order to teach my children correctly, I don't focus on their negative actions. I focus on their positive.
Right.
And in doing so, I continuously give them praise. But then you're saying if we are consistently looking for praise, then we are going into a negative.
Looking for praise. Okay. Now
Yes.
I got what you said. Okay.
Am I creating this negative path for my children by consistently telling them how wonderful
Sure.
I think they are?
Sure. 다 뭐랑 디스고 이렇게 단단 뭐랑 보고 쭉 아마래도 가게. 그래서 가라다 보고 되게 돼야 소용 시도 가야 아니 이제 보고 내가 야버체 주고 저 삼단으로 와 떨어지라 던져서 와. 때 두고 되게 되시라 말아버체 그 고당님 샤와 야가지 다켜 제세 야고 총셔서다 라고 유에서게. 지도 갈다 되게 세다 지도 떨어다 메나 아니 간저 양지 갈서 그렇게 딜이야 갈서 그래. 미케벌 주에도 뭔가 숨어와. 제가 뭐라 제다도 너도 여러에서 보고 되게 될 때로 땅땅 제대로 가려고 와게. 보고 되게 되다 가서 그래. 그 미케벌 남리야 자동으로 이제 찾고 그러사게.
부디게라
또 때로 당겨 와게. 당라로 때로 시다 땅면에게 아니 가서 미케벌 지기를 년료 남을 누굴 망고 랍사로 와게. 되게 맞아. 제가 디 보고래 때로 땅데 디 노버래 가르래서다.
다 부글 떨었다데 다 시다시는 밤에 부글 떨어면 이메라데 땅고 말 페이스북 말지 신나 콜이야 떨었다네 펜샤도는 떨었단 거로 와 떨었다니 가지 떨었단 쫄로 저러
그래.
근데선 떨었단 저 말아 와 이거는 지리도 거도 내가 따기 시기 말해 저한테 부글 떨었다는 땅 거로 와
Geshe says, I mean, praising your kids is not, a bad or negative thing, because as a matter of fact, we praise the good deeds of others, right? So, but then you have to, it is a situational thing. You are in the best judgment, right? Say, by praising your kids' activities, is it benefiting them and encouraging them to do the right thing, right? Or is making them, I don't know, do something else, right? And so if you think it's helping them to do the right thing and get better with it, that's fine, But if you think that praising them is making them, something else, then you have to, change, right? So it's a situational thing, yeah. All right, thank you very much for active participations. Dharma friends, we'll stop there today. We'll do our dedication prayers. We'll do the Manjushri prayer in Tibetan, and then English, and then Vietnamese. Kāngyē lōzhē tīmnyē tīndā nīndā namdā rāvsē chīnyē tūnggū jīshē sīchē nīyē tūgā lēpam zē kāndā sībē sērā mēndōng dōngē jīsē rōzō kūrlā pūjē tā yānlā rūjē yāngdēn sōng rūdā shērō nyēmō nyēlō lēyē chārō chēzē Maria Munze Dunge Nyugo Chinye Chunze Radi Nam Dene Daje Saju Yende Lunzo Gyase Tuyu Go Chuja Chuda Juni Yende Dang Yangla Du Omara Bazana Omara Bazana De Sende Kyuye Kera Vese Dalu Demo Memba Rapsene Kada Tenju Shunglo Doba Lode Bobe Nawa Zendo Lode Gyatsu Udon Bega De Kyazan Bongbe Chudo Memba Tenba Zinla Wando Yicho Be Zhangye Shogun Cho So on the page 21. Obeisance to my Guru and Protector Manjushri, who holds at his heart a scriptural text, symbolic of us seeing all things as they are, whose intelligence shines forth as the sun, unclouded by delusions or traces of ignorance, who teaches in 60 ways with the loving compassion of Father for his only Son, all creatures caught in the prison of samsara, confused in the darkness of their ignorance, overwhelmed by their suffering. You whose dragon thunder-like proclamation of Dharma arouses us from the stupor of our delusions and free us from the iron chains of our karma, who wields the sword of wisdom, hewing down suffering wherever sprouts appear, clearing away the darkness of ignorance. You who have been pure from the beginning, who have completed the stages, achieving the highest perfection of a bodhisattva, whose princely body is adorned with 112 marks of a Buddha, I bow down to you, Manjushri, Om Arabhazana Di. O compassionate one, with the brilliance of your wisdom, illuminate the darkness enclosing my mind. Enlighten my intelligence and wisdom so that I may gain insight into Buddha's words and the text that explained here. Page 31. Like the sweet perfume of white lotus, born in the ocean of knowledge, nourishing honeybees, the fortunate beings, your fame pervades all directions. You are proficient and powerful in upholding the precious doctrine. To you, O Lobsang Tenzin Wanta, respectfully I pray.
Nhất tâm kính lễ Đức Văn Thù Sư Lợi, bậc đại trí ngài điều phục hai chướng ngại, tự nhật quan lan tỏa khắp mười phương, bậc thực chứng chân nghĩa màu rốt ráo, từ tim ngài Bát Nhã Kinh thủ hộ nhiệm màu, cõi luân hồi chúng sanh thọ nghiệp báo, bị ngăn che bởi phiền não vô biên. Sở hữu 60 pháp âm thù thắng, cùng đại bi ngài hóa độ chúng sanh, tự từ mẫu chăm lo cho quý tử. Tiếng rồng vang ngài thức tỉnh hữu tình, thoát khỏi vòng luân hồi nghiệp báo. Gươm trí tuệ ngài chặt đứt vô minh, tận diệt muôn vàn khổ đau cùng ách nạn. Ngài ăn trụ nơi thập địa pháp vân, báu thân ngài trang nghiêm thanh tịnh, 112 tướng hào Như Lai, đây đầu đảnh lễ Đức Văn Thù Sư Lợi, cúi xin Ngài tận diệt ám chướng vô minh. Om Arapasanadi, con khẩn cầu dưới gót sen bậc đại trí, bàn pháp lực diệt phiền não vô minh, được trí sáng con thâm nhập nghĩa màu, pháp vi diệu cùng muôn vàn luận giải. Như diệu hương ngọt ngào từ sen trắng, đàn xanh nơi trí thủ thắng đại dương, hàng thiện căn như ông mật thọ nương, hồng danh Ngài khắp 10 phương quảng bá, đấng thiện xảo vô dụng. Nam mô Lốp Sang Tenzin Quang Đắc, xin cung kính trì niệm.
I want to make this announcement. On Thursday, July 27th, is a very auspicious day called Chokur Gyeltsen, Dharma Chakra Parivartin, or turning the wheel of Dharma. As you know Buddha's story, that after he became Buddha, he stayed in silence for 49 days, and then he was requested to give his teaching, and the first teaching was given on this day to the first 5 main disciples and others. So GSTDL will commemorate this day with a special talk offering called Gana Chakra, or the feast offering in English. Feast meaning not so much the food, but fruits and cookies, my footnote. So I think you're welcome to that. So it's Thursday, July 27th, 7:30. Yes, so we will do a talk offering here. Chokur Gyeltsen Shushen Bakin. Sanje jindo mikde awa ye doge nam Chöboy yo kanri rawe kobe shingan de penan de wa ma lu jongwe ne jere se wa tinzin yang zo ye xiawe se de ba den yu je ye dama guru radha mandela ga niryan da yo